Behind me on the table are 12 clone fragrances. Some of them are extremely popular and hyped up. Some of them you've probably never even heard of before. Some of them smell amazing. Some of them smell downright terrible. But we're going to be ranking them all into a tier list. From S tier being the very, very best, all the way down to D tier, which is going to stand for dead colognes. Like, I wouldn't be caught dead wearing these, they're that bad. Starting off in the D tier, starting with the worst of the worst, is Maison Alhambra's Porto Neroli. Now, this is a clone of Tom Ford's Neroli Portofino. If you couldn't already tell, Maison Alhambra, which by the way is owned by Lattafa, are pretty damn shameless when it comes to copying the names of super popular designer brands, and even copying the damn bottle designs. But unfortunately, this smells absolutely abysmal. It is extremely synthetically soapy. To me, it genuinely just smells like a block of bath soap, but soap that has been sitting out in the sun for 2 months. The neroli note is so strong and overpowering. Personally, I don't like neroli in a lot of fragrances. There is only a select few neroli based fragrances that I've tried that I genuinely enjoy, but this is not one of them. If there was a tier lower than D in this video, it would be in that tier. If there was a tier lower than that tier, it would be in that tier. I really hate this fragrance with a burning passion. And I don't even like the real Tom Ford Neroli Portofino, but they've made it even worse somehow. I don't know how you did it, Maison Alhambra. Oh, foul. Joining Porto Neroli in the D tier is going to be Club de Nuit Untold. And it's not just the absolutely disgusting and hideous bottle design that I hate. It is the smell as well. This reminds me of what a super mean girl in high school with all her girlfriends, you know, talking crap on all the people walking past them in the hallways would wear. It is just so obnoxious and juvenile. Oh, don't even get me started. And I don't even like starting videos off this negatively, but we're kicking it off with the D tier, so it has to be expected. This is just incredibly loud, synthetic, and obnoxious smelling. It's the Baccarat Rouge 540 DNA, which I already really just don't like. Not just because my toxic ex-girlfriend used to wear Baccarat Rouge, but I've just never liked the smell DNA. Somehow they've taken it, made it more synthetic, made it more cheap smelling. Oh. You disgust me. Moving on to the C tier. Now, these are not necessarily bad. They're just very, very forgettable. I would probably never recommend them, but I'd also probably never make a video saying do not buy these fragrances. The first one is Afnan 9 AM Dive. I love Afnan 9 PM. I love the new Afnan 9 PM Rebelle. This one, though, is one that Afnan probably wishes they could just forget never even happened. To my knowledge, it's supposed to be a clone of Bleu de Chanel, so a really, really timeless, classy, soapy, fresh and clean fragrance. This one is just not blended as smoothly. It's just incredibly, incredibly soapy. There's no kind of nice woods or backbone to the fragrance. It's just too marine and aquatic for my liking. Also, performance is quite honestly laughable. I get 4 hours longevity with soft projection. I don't remember the last time I wore this fragrance. There are a lot better clones of Bleu de Chanel out on the market. If that's the same profile you want, I would just stay away from this one. It's okay. It doesn't smell bad. You're not going to offend anyone, but you're also probably not going to turn anybody's heads. Also in the C tier is going to be another Maison Alhambra fragrance, and that is Eternal Touch. Now, this is supposed to smell like Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille, and it gets about 60% there. But with a fragrance that is so obviously trying to imitate a certain smell, if you're getting 60% of the way there, and not really providing people smelling it with anything else interesting going on, it's not going to really be highly rated in my books. It just smells like a vanilla chai latte, but it takes away that really rich, gorgeous, realistic spiciness that Tom Ford Tobacco Vanille has, and just replaces it with really basic smelling vanilla. There's just nothing for me to really ever want to come back to this fragrance. Again, like after 9 AM, there's not going to be a lot of people that smell this and go, oh, I really don't like how it smells. But it's just not going to be a fragrance that people smell and are immediately blown away by. It's just painfully average. So that's why this one is in the C tier. We are finally into the B tier. And B tier fragrances are great. I mean, I feel like I'm a pretty harsh critic when it comes to fragrances. A lot of these ones in the B tier, many other creators or just people that like fragrances, these could be S tier for them. You know, from this point onwards, it's going to be pretty subjective. But we're starting off with Lattafa's Vintage Radio. Unfortunately, this is a fragrance that I like less and less every time I wear it. I mean, when I first smelled this, I was convinced this is the best Lattafa, the best cologne fragrance ever. And the more I get to wear it and kind of experience how it smells, especially in the dry down, I realize it's just not that fragrance for me. But it is still very good. It's supposed to smell like Inicio's Paragon, a really unique, very unisex vanilla plum fruity fragrance. It's a fruity, powdery vanilla bomb. For me though, it's just a little bit too feminine leading. That plum note is something that I don't really want to wear a lot of the time. So the fact that I don't reach for it very much, the fact that it's just too unique for me to wear in a lot of different situations, the lack of versatility definitely brings it down for me. I wear it sometimes, it's okay. It doesn't really blow my mind like it used to. It's a bit too sweet, but it's creative, it's unique, and it's fun. And I know that a lot of people watching this are probably going to love this fragrance a lot more than I do. I also absolutely love the radio bottle design. I threw away the box, but the box is absolutely beautiful as well. This is not blind buy safe unless you know that you're already like Inicio Paragon. Make sure you sample this one first. But if you've been after a really unique vanilla fruity fragrance, this one could be for you. Also in that B tier is another Lattafa, and this one is called Fakhar. I have to be very careful with the pronunciation there, but this is a clone of YSLY's EDT/EDP, but they've very obviously made a twist on the EDP DNA to make it their own kind of creation. But unfortunately, the way they've twisted it isn't my favorite. And this is a clone where I can respect that it is decent, but I much prefer the original YSLY EDP because this makes it a lot fruitier, a lot sweeter, and it seems like they've made it to appeal more to kind of the high school, college, more youthful crowd, whereas the OG YSLY EDP just smells a lot more realistically blended, and I appreciate the smell a lot more. But honestly, for 40 bucks, you're getting a pretty good interpretation of that soapy but slightly sweet masculine scent profile, so that's why it's in the B tier. Performance is okay, you get around 6 hours longevity tops. 6 hours tops, probably closer to 5, but projection is pretty good. I mean, this is like a 5 or 6 spray. You wear it to the gym, you wear it to school, you wear it to work, you can just throw it on whenever. It's super easy to wear. But I always say, you know, with any clone fragrance, but especially this one, if you can afford YSLY EDP, just buy the real thing instead. I've just realized that all 3 B tier fragrances are from Lattafa. This next one, Lattafa Asad, is also going to be in the B tier. And this one is just from pure personal bias, just the fact that I do not like that Dior Sauvage Elixir scent profile. But I mean, I will give Lattafa credit. This has a little bit more vanilla, it's a little bit less spicy and kind of overly masculine, but it still strongly has that Sauvage Elixir, traditional barbershop, little bit Middle Eastern scent profile that I just cannot stand. Again, if you actually like how Sauvage Elixir smells and you're balling on a budget, this could be S tier for you. But for me, B tier is the best it's going to get. Before we move on to the A tier, if you're enjoying this video, please make sure to subscribe. It is free, but it helps me out a ton. I love you guys. The first fragrance in the A tier. This one could be S tier in the future as I continue to wear it. It is Game of Spades Roll It 1. And it combines my 2 favorite things in life. Cologne and gambling. That's right. This fragrance bottle has like a roulette wheel on the front and it has a spinny ball. If you got ADHD like me, that could make this fragrance S tier. I mean, the presentation's that cool. This is a dupe of SHL's God of Fire. I've never smelled the original God of Fire, but I mean, this smells unbelievable. It is so tropical. The mango note is so kind of juicy and vibrant, and the performance, ridiculously good. I mean, it's a skin scent after about 8 hours, but it's going to linger on your skin for a close to 12 hours with strong projection. You also get a crazy pressurized atomizer, a super heavy bottle, and I don't know if you guys saw that, the magnetic cap as well. I mean, everything from presentation to smell to performance is on point. So why isn't it S tier, you may ask? That is a great question. It's $220 US. Yeah, stupidly expensive. I mean, it hasn't hit discounters yet, but hopefully it'll be around that 150 mark, maybe even more affordable on discounters. But as of now, because it's a newer release, it's still just on their website, and it's like $220 US. For a clone, for a glorified clone, that is ridiculous. I mean, it's lucky it's an A tier for that price. Abomination. A more affordable fragrance that is also in the A tier though is Khadlaj Island. This smells like Le Beau Le Parfum, but for just $30. And they got this scent profile to a T. Whoever made this fragrance, it could have been even the perfumer that made Le Beau Le Parfum. It smells that close. Plus, that atomizer for $30, that in and of itself is impressive. But they got that pina colada, tropical, fruity, just creamy vibe to a T. It's impressive. Khadlaj is a great brand, but Island is still my favorite from it. And I slept on this fragrance for so long. Every day on TikTok, I would get messages for me to review it. And I just went, I'm sure it's not that good. I mean, like, it gets a lot of hype. I blind bought it, and as soon as I made the video, I was like, I should have listened to you guys, because this is a fantastic clone. Why isn't it in S tier? Le Beau Le Parfum is a great fragrance, but it's not incredible. Like, I'm not gonna reach for this every second day. Like, these S tier ones that I'm about to get to are like, just wait. In at the S tier, we have Kayaan's Classic, probably the most slept on fragrance on this list, because Kayaan, I've never heard of them. I mean, okay, Kayaan's not actually the brand. Our Tanya is the brand, which you may have heard of, but even that, I mean, I have, like, this is the only fragrance I really know from the brand, but it is so good that, like, on Fragrantia, I think it has like a 4.6 rating with hundreds of reviews. So I saw that, I realized it was the only clone of Dior Homme Intense that I'd really ever seen in the market. I bought it about over a year ago now, actually, and it is just getting better and better every time I wear it, because it's macerating, it's getting darker, it's getting richer, and it's got no atomizer head now. But this is one of the very few clones on this list that I would actually pick 9 times out of 10 to wear over the original, because the smell is 95%. Even in the dry down, it's still got that creamy iris chocolatey vibe, but the performance is slightly better than the new reformulated Dior Homme Intense bottles, which is what I have. Unfortunately, I don't have one of the OGs. I get 7-8 hours ish with this. With the Dior Homme Intense, I get 6-7. Like, it's close, but it's enough for me to want to wear the clone more than the real thing. Oh my god. Oh, I'm about to go to my girlfriend's house. She's gonna kill me for overspraying. But at least I oversprayed a really good clone. So, also in the S tier, the tippity top, the best of the best, it's gonna be Club de Nuit Precieux. This is the only Club de Nuit I think is an S tier fragrance. They have a lot of bangers. The original Club de Nuit Lionheart, Club de Nuit Iconic. There may be B or A tier. This one is a bona fide S tier fragrance. It smells similar to Creed Aventus Absolute. I don't quite remember what the original Aventus Absolute smells like. I just know that this is masculine, dark, sexy as hell, and the performance is so crazy. Price wise, it is quite expensive. It's like $80 for a 55 ml bottle, but it's an extrait. It lasts hours, close to a full day on skin. Genuinely, you're gonna get 15 hours. This is one of those ones where you spray it, you get in the shower, you come out, and it's just still all on you. Like, you can't get it off. Once you spray it on, it is a part of you. And finally, you guys probably see this one coming, don't you? If you've been watching me, you know it has got to be Lattafa Khamrah. Now, if you're looking for the best one-to-one clone of a fragrance, this wouldn't even be close to the S tier. In terms of how close it gets to what it's trying to technically clone, it's probably like a C or a D tier. But it is obvious that Lattafa saw what Kilian had done with Angel Share. They were like, that's an amazing fragrance. But I want to put my own twist on it that people might even find better than the smell of Angel Share. And that's what they've done here. They've added a lot more sweetness, taken down the booziness, increased the cinnamon, added a really rich and more edible date/praline vibe. And what they did is they cooked. They made an amazing creation. I call it a clone because, I mean, look at the bottle. Look at the juice color. Even parts of the smell. It's obvious what they used as an inspiration for this fragrance. That is going to wrap it up on this ultimate clone fragrance tier list. Let me know if you agree or disagree with my rankings down in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.